all these troubles, all these struggles, all the friction that we experience comes from not being who we really are meant to be. And everyone knows who they are. There isn't a situation in the world, in life, every single day, where you don't have a choice to be you. It's that inner voice. You can call it intuition, you can call it your fully realized self, you can call it whatever you want, the light of life. But it's your inner wisdom that is a voice that you hear every single time you make a decision. And you're just so used to not making it. I call it the judging habit. We're constantly judging things and judging right or wrong, good or bad, for me, against me. I agree with, I disagree with. I like, I dislike. It's this constant noise and chatter that we create. And it drowns out the voice of your intuition, which is not in your head. All that judgment lives in your head, right? And that's living from the head space. And that was my big shift as well, it doesn't get you anywhere really, it just gets you sick and confused and disoriented. So shifting and listening and allowing that inner voice to come out is what your journey is about. And then allowing that voice to guide you. Right? That voice doesn't exist in the past or the future. It only exists, again, the present moment, when you're interacting with things, when you're doing things, when you're living. Right? The head, stories, projections, regrets, all this stuff only lives in the past and the future. But to really listen and hear your inner voice, it only exists right now. The best way to experience right now, ultimately, is to connect to your senses. Eyesight, hearing, tasting, feeling, and hearing, and smell, and even your sixth sense to a certain extent. Those are the things that connect you to the reality in front of you, the way it is. Not the way you want it to be, but the way it actually is right now. When you drift off into the world of judgment in your mind, you lose connection, you lose your senses. I call it senselessness. And that's really what happens. You drift into a place of senselessness. There are no limits to anything. Your mind can make up whatever it wants. And based on your judgments, it can create very disturbing things for you that you suffer from and that you carry around with you. That there's a heavy energetic weight to the stuff we create from our judgments. So coming back out of this imaginary realm, this filtered reality that we live in, just focus your attention on your senses. Look at what you're looking. Actually look at it. Because most of the time we're not actually looking at things. Hear the sounds that are around you. Actually hear them. Focus on that. You immediately feel yourself coming out of this world of projection and imagination where fear and anxiety live, and you suddenly feel yourself back in the present moment where you are right now. And the magic that I just referred to a moment happens when you're so connected to what's in front of you. What's in front of you actually starts speaking to you. It actually tells you what the next step is. That's because your next step is based on the reality in front of you. You're not making things up and creating a big plan in your mind that you have to set out and execute and make it happen and the world is against you or there are adversaries out there and you fight and all this stuff. It's irrelevant. That's all imagined. The only thing that's real is what's right in front of you. And when you connect to that through your senses, you feel that reality. You feel that reality in terms of what's possible. You feel that reality within you. You realize the reality within yourself of who you really are. The be you concept, right? Is all this other stuff is projections. It's imprints. It's the false self-image. But suddenly, the world is your mirror. You see the world for what it is. You see yourself for what you are. And from there, experience by experience, one thing at a time, you start to realize yourself more, you start to connect to the world more. Momentum builds, things unfold for you. There's an incredible structure to all of life. It's unbelievable how it all works together. The mind can't comprehend. And if the mind tries to comprehend, you get confused, because it's always trying to connect dots. If we're trying to make sense of every single thing that happens, we get confused, we get disoriented, we start to suffer. It's also what's happening right now. A lot of people are trying to make sense of this with their heads. It doesn't lead to anything good. It causes more confusion, more anxiety. So connecting to what's in front of you, that's real. That's your reality. And it speaks to you in the way that it can only speak to you. Right? Your maturity, your experience, everything that you bring to the table, reality as it is, will speak to you in exactly the way you are. It can't talk to you any other way. It's not going to tell you to be somebody you're not. It's not going to tell you you need to do this even though you don't feel like it. It treats you as you are. And so from this stable foundation of self-realization of who you are right now, from there you can make change. And the third step is that you have to implement the things, not just intellectually get them, but implement them, integrate them into your life. So going back to life actually talking to you and speaking to you. I call it clear action. You basically see the things that you need to do next. And they are so connected to what's actually real that if there's ever a chance of something really happening, that's your best chance. A lot of energies in the world and things may shift again. You have to roll with it. But ultimately, the only thing that's predictable is you acting on what's actually in front of you. And so you don't have to sit and plan and prepare. This speech right now is completely unprepared and unplanned, because if I planned anything, nothing would come out. I wouldn't read some of your comments. I would not be able to shift and pivot or adjust. I have to trust that whatever's coming through me right now is what needs to come through me. And that's the path to being more of you.